In 1978, 4 years after the residents of the District of Columbia exercised their right to elect their mayor and council, 14 hospital leaders came together to form an association to ensure that their collective voices were heard in City Hall. 40 years later, that collective voice of your hospitals is still represented by the District of Columbia Hospital Association.
When I was hired by the District of Columbia Hospital Association back in 1984, the then president of the association, Steve Lipson, said to me, the purpose of the organization is to solve common problems that hospitals face and that the community faces that have to do with hospitals.
40 years strong, DCHA is still dedicated to promoting policies and initiatives that strengthen our system of care, preserve access, and promote better health outcomes for the patients and the communities they serve. Over its first decade, DCHA grew to a 17-facility organization with 30,000 dedicated employees, 8,000 beds, 350 bassinets, and combined operating expenses of $1.25 billion. Most importantly, DCHA members provided more than $100 million in care to residents who were unable to pay. Since its inception, one of DCHA's major functions has been advocacy for its members. Taking legal action to challenge legislation and regulations thought to be unfair to DC hospitals is something DCHA did not shy away from in its first decade.
One of the things that the hospitals have found over the years is that there are certain Medicare or Medicaid policies that sometimes can be very burdensome to the hospitals. One of which was the court case that came before the Supreme Court that was brought by DCHA and its member hospitals. It had to do with retroactive rulemaking, and it was very complicated about how rules were developed for Medicare after the fact, and they went back and tried to change them. So this case actually was won by DCHA. It was led by Ron Sutter, one of the longtime DCHA associate members. Ron argued the case before the Supreme Court, won on behalf of district hospitals. So for a fledgling organization like the DC Hospital Association, not yet 10 years old, this decision was a momentous one, and it had repercussions across the country.
Beyond the courtroom, DCHA welcomed a new member in 1986 when the National Rehabilitation Hospital opened its doors.
We opened in February of 1986. We had one patient and 256 staff, and we've just done nothing but grow from there.
As its first decade drew to a close, DCHA had grown and solidified its position to tackle the essential issues facing District of Columbia hospitals.